Blair Postman. I am super excited to be here. And yes, my voice does sound divorced. So, next month I will turn 53 years old. All of you should be on your fucking feet applauding and standing ovation. I am here and I am awake and I am telling jokes as far as you know. But I get it, right? Some of you are younger, you're in your 20s and your 30s. You're looking at me and saying, why should I clap? I'm way hotter than her. And of course you are. Now. But I'm here as like a ghost of Christmas yet to be. To let you young people know that when you turn 40, shit starts going south fast on people. There's no rhyme or reason about who gets hit hardest or first. For example, do you think I was my hottest college friend when I was 21 years old?
Yes.
No fucking way, big man. But I am now. I am now. And I can't tell you why. Like, I don't have any tips. Maybe wear sunscreen, consider not having kids. It's all I got. It's an option. It's allowed. You know why women my age talk about Botox so much? Because it fucking works. It works. If you think Jennifer Aniston looks that way because of a Vino moisturizer, you need to wake the hell up. Your life is going to be very hard for you. So I have noticed that women of a younger generation have really embraced the IUD form of birth control. And that's because it's a great product now. But if you have one, maybe the next time you meet a woman over, say, 60, give her a high five for doing some serious road testing on those things. Because back in the 80s, they were on the national news every night for busting through uterine walls like the Kool-Aid Man at a summer barbecue. Yes, horrified young women, and the women who are older than me clapping in the back. They were the Ford Pinto of birth control. And if you have one, and just statistically speaking, the three of you do. If you have one, and you're too young to know what a Ford Pinto was, it was a car that exploded when you touched it. You're learning tonight! Knowledge is power! So 1 year ago, I moved from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland on purpose. Thing I thought about in advance and I chose to do. And look, don't get me wrong, I lived the better part of 20 adult years in and around D.C. And I love the super cool neighborhoods I can no longer afford to live in. And I love the free museums I never went to. All that shit is #1. But modern day, like official, front, public-facing Washington has become a place built by the winners, just for the winners. Whereas Baltimore is a town that will lose with you. Baltimore will look you dead in the eye and say, you fucked up big time, honey.
Yep.
But here's a beer, have a seat, nobody cares! Nobody cares there! It's called loyalty, Hanover. Every day in D.C., somebody important gets knocked off their pedestal because of one mistake. But nobody ever has to leave Baltimore in disgrace. That's not a thing. When the sexual harassment scandal started breaking, Kevin Spacey moved full-time to Baltimore. He walks among us today. So, any of you guys ever say out loud that you have haters? Anyone? No, me either. Because I can't imagine having that kind of fucking confidence. Can you imagine, like being with Susan in marketing, posts online to the whole world on Instagram, something that starts with, well, I know my haters are going to say, what? What? You think you have people, groups of people sitting around, the strangers, thinking about you every day, in and out, so much that they're planning and plotting and praying for your demise. I only have, by that definition, I have 2 haters. Their names are Mom and Dad. That's it. The most I could possibly hope for. So, I alluded to that I have been divorced, but I have been married now to my current husband for over 15 years. P.S. doesn't love it when I call him my current husband. It doesn't sound optimistic, sir. Mostly, things are great. But a few years ago, he threw like a little plot twist into our relationship. He decided to give up drinking alcohol because he's a quitter who hates fun. I'm more disappointed than you guys are, I promise you. Right? Because I love active alcoholics. They're exciting. It's 9 a.m. Where's the car? Nobody knows. Excitement time. Adventure. And they are brave. It's like no non-alcoholic, for example, is going up to the boss everyone hates at the Christmas party and slurring, "Fuck you, you fucking fuck." Only the alcoholic hero is taking that bullet for the team. Man, we got some heroes back there. Thank you for your service. Now, you guys may not know this, but when a real, professional level drinker decides to hang it up, they suddenly have between 12 and 24 extra hours every day that they now need to fill with new shit to do. So you might have thought your loved one was trouble when they were drinking. But oh, my friends, just you wait till Mr. Newly Sober with too much time on his hands starts coming up with some big ideas to fill those empty hours. Like maybe he's gonna study a dead language, or take up doomsday prepping, or maybe they'll be like my husband, who thought that we should take up running in races outside with other fucking people. And if you're giggling, it's because you can see me. You know this is a bad idea. I am short. I am spherish. I am squishy in a lot of places. I've always been an only run if I'm chased kind of gal. So, and he knew that about me, so I got pissed off. I said, "Look, buddy, I might stay through some drinking, but I will not stand quietly by as you try to turn us into goddamn running people, because that's the line I will not cross. That's my moral center. Right over there on the couch." And eventually I gave in, and he made us train together for months. And then he has run a whole bunch of 5Ks all over the place. Every weekend was another road trip somewhere, to the point where I now have thrown up in historic downtown districts in cities all over the Southeast. And then we ran a 10K. And in that 10K, I came in last. Now, spoiler alert, it's not going to be a motivational part of the story that I tell you right here. There were 1,000 people in that race, and I was last. The elderly, toddlers, clowns, plural, with an S, multiple clowns. This is when someone nice, like the person who said, "Oh, like, oh, Blair, you know, you came in ahead of everybody who just stayed at home on the couch that day. Oh, yeah? Just barely. Just fucking barely. At one point, I lift up, just like barely see through my rivers of sweat, right? I lift up my head and see the parking lot where the whole shindig started. And I noticed that all the food trucks and the tchotchke vendors had all packed up and they had gone home. All the volunteers were gone too, except for the one guy in the golf cart who was 6 inches behind me for the last 2 fucking miles, picking up each individual orange cone as I slowly dragged my ass back. That was Ricky. He's my hero. We keep in touch. Eventually I crossed that finish line. My husband was there. And he started saying things to me like, Blair, is that amazing? How much faster I'm getting? That's amazing because I'm so much faster than you now. I said, well, you know what, honey? It's true. But you really want to amaze me, hotshot? Try running with these. Run with these. Look at them, young man, directly. Don't get away! I need you right now for a second! She doesn't care! Do you care? No, not at all. You don't have haters, sir. This is way too much boob for a girl my height, right? Right, yes, you're goddamn right it is. I can't use all of this day in, day out efficiently. I don't care how big his mouth is. It can't be done. Not all of it, not every day. It's like having 2 recently dead mammals just strapped to my chest at all times. I know that does not hurt. And I am fighting for nothing. And I am out there, red-faced and sweating, on my little hobbit legs. You know, I'm just a busty Bilbo Baggins. I get back to my shire, my hobbit home, mushroom. Now, it's a little caveat to the story. It's this. Because I now have a slip disc in my neck, the doctor said that I have to give up running. It's very sad. Look, I don't want to get preachy or turn this into a TED Talk or whatever, but there are Christmas miracles, Hannah. Doctor gave me a couple options of things I could do to make it better. The first was that I could have a breast reduction. Now look, I don't think we need to call Guinness. They're not epic. But I think it's clear this is not... This is definitely not an after photo, right? Like, I clearly didn't have that surgery, right? Didn't have it done. They can have these when they pull them from my husband's cold, dead hands. Am I right, guys? Am I right, guys? Guys, that is a boob joke wrapped around a political joke. That is the joke America needs right now to bring us together, and frankly, it was a test and you failed. But the other option was I go have physical therapy. And that I did. I went a couple times a week for many months. I did all the exercises, but things weren't really getting better. So I went in for an appointment. I said to the physical therapist, hey, what's the next move? Because, you know, I do the exercises, I feel better for a little bit, and then I feel worse again. You know, it's like I'm in that Greek myth Sisyphus. The guy is doomed to all eternity to roll a boulder up a hill, but he keeps rolling back down. But I'm doomed to all eternity to roll 2 boulders up a hill. I know it's a cheap fucking joke, but it's right there. So we do it! So, physical therapist, what's our next move? And instead of answering that legit medical question, he turned to me and said, well, I guess you must be smarter than I am. I don't know who Sisyphus is. To which I replied, first of all, I just told you who Sisyphus is 30 seconds ago. And second, for $90 a session, that's with insurance, maybe you pretend. You pretend you know who Sisyphus is, and you listen for context clues in the goddamn conversation, and then you answer my real fucking medical question. And then when I leave here today, after I'm gone, maybe you go online, you Google some shit, you better yourself, instead of throwing your insecure bullshit back on me. Maybe that's how you learn who Sisyphus is. Maybe that's how you do physical therapy. The other patients in the waiting room stood and applauded as I was forcibly escorted out that day. I regret nothing. So guys, I'm going to tell you something that is not going to surprise you at all. I have been diagnosed by many medical professionals as having profound ADHD. Yes, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but that doesn't matter. For those of you who aren't familiar, ADHD brains have an unreliable amount of certain brain chemicals that regulate a multitude of functions. And one of those functions is attention. But it also regulates things like emotions, impulsivity, and hyperactivity, which is why we're way more fun at parties than you are. Sometimes people ask me, Blair, what does ADHD feel like? To me, ADHD feels like, seriously, that I am a super genius. But also, I cannot find my glasses. That's getting in the way of the super genius part. But for real, like it has upside, right? For example, in my case, I have this like heightened talent to see hidden patterns, connections, that kind of thing, right, that most other people miss. Right, so when I finally got the guts to become a stand-up comic, as a twice married, recently bankrupt 43-year-old woman, jealous, I knew I was going to want to include in my act, right, some of those patterns that light up the inside of my brain, because a lot of them are hilarious. Right, but I also knew I was going to need a visual aid, format things, so that audiences at a comedy club could follow along with what I was saying, even after they had many cocktails. Which eventually led me to cutting out pictures and sticking them on flip charts. Oh, and let me tell you how popular it made me to be a newbie, middle-aged lady comic showing up to comedy clubs with a flip chart. The other comics wouldn't talk to me because it seemed like a weird mashup of a 1940s ventriloquist act and a friend of their mom's. One of the amazing things, right? People think that folks with ADHD can't focus on anything, but that's not true. Right? When something is interesting, whatever that happens to mean to us personally, or urgent, or novel, or in some other way captivating, we can actually hyper-focus. Right? And that's the ability to hone in on every excruciating detail of something for God knows how long. And that ability is where cures for cancer can come from. And also, where my history of Super Bowl halftime shows flip chart comedy comes from. I'm going to share one of my things. I happen to enjoy a private Facebook group called This Cat is Chunky. Some of you know it. Some of you seem to be pretending not to know it. For whatever reason, that's all right, live your life. For those of you who really don't know it, This Cat is Chonky, C-H-O-N-K-Y. This Cat is Chunky. It's a private Facebook group dedicated to the celebration and uplifting of plus-size cats and their owners and the lives we lead together. It's a very body-positive place. There's no fat cat shaming allowed. And it's the nicest, most important place on the internet. So I did this, told my husband about it, because he's a cat daddy. I knew he'd be into it. I circle back with him a couple weeks later, tell him everything I've seen in Chunky Cat Land. He tells me that he has gone on and joined over 3 dozen more private niche cat Facebook groups. More than 3 dozen! What could they be, Blair? I imagine you are asking yourself. Don't worry, I will give you some examples. All right, but just before we get going, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, right? We got this cat is Chunky, right? That's your basic fat cat. It's your gateway drug. You all know about this one now. Then we've got groups like this cat is Slunky. It's for very stretched out cats. Maybe they're yawning. Maybe they're in a sunlight spot. They look like very tall gentlemen. Then we've got groups like this cat is Soggy. And that is just wet cat after wet cat. Pissed off wet cats. He's so angry. Then we have groups dedicated to every shape and size of cat. Here's an example from a group called This Cat is Small, S-M-O-L, cat speak for small. That's right. But ladies, it's a little baby kitten. But what's the most important thing about this picture, ladies? He got a little bitty suitcase, guys. Where is he going? Then we have groups dedicated to every color of cat, every fur pattern of cat, every intersection of those things. One of my favorites is called This Cat is Orange. And I will give you a sample. Okay. This is one of my favorite pictures from that group. For those in the back, it's of a large, borderline chunky, orange tabby cat wearing a bolero tie and an itty-bitty cowboy hat. How do they get a cat to wear a hat? That rhymes! How do they get their cat to wear a hat? My cats try to kill me if I try to do that. They do not like a hat. They do not like a hat, even though one of mine is also orange. In fact, just like this cat who's wearing a hat. And that, my friends, is a true black cat fact. Yes, nailed it again. That's what a real ADHD rabbit hole feels like.